All right, everyone ready for a deep dive? Today we're tackling something that's got everybody talking these days.
FIRE,
That's right.
financial independence, retire early.
It seems like it's everywhere you look online these days.
Yeah.
And whether you're someone who's already dreaming of escaping that 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you're just looking at, different ways to structure your life, or even if you're just curious, like, what is all this hype about? We are going to break it all down for you today.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating to me about FIRE is that it's not just about retiring early.
Right.
It's about, really taking control of your finances
Yeah.
and aligning your life with your values.
Yes, exactly. And it's about having those choices, right?
Right.
Like being able to say yes to things that you want to do, whether it's work that you're passionate about or travel or just more time with family or whatever it is that
Yeah.
lights you up.
So the basic idea of FIRE is to build enough wealth that your investments can cover your living expenses.
Okay.
So you create your own personal income stream
Gotcha.
without needing a traditional job.
Okay, so our source material today, FIRE, your complete guide to financial independence and early retirement, they actually talk about the 4% rule. Have you heard of that before?
Yes, of course. So the idea is that you can safely withdraw about 4% from your investments
Okay.
each year in retirement and essentially make that money last for decades.
Yeah, now, of course, nothing in the world of finance is guaranteed.
Exactly.
This is based on historical market data, but still it gives you
It gives you a framework.
a good framework to work with, a good place to start.
Absolutely.
But you got to stay flexible and adapt.
Of course.
Speaking of strategies, though, I know the book kind of dives into the nitty-gritty of it,
Yeah.
but they have 3 main pillars for achieving FIRE: maximizing your savings, optimizing investments, and minimizing living expenses. Let's take those one at a time. First one, maximizing your savings. I feel like that's kind of what everybody thinks of when they think of.
That's right. The first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, saving money. But, that can be anything from like, brewing your own coffee instead of going to Starbucks to like negotiating.
Like a higher salary, right?
Yeah, little changes add up, but big moves
Right.
can make a big difference.
Yeah, and I know the book throws out a big number there. They say aim to save 50 to 70%
Yeah, it's ambition.
of your income.
Yeah.
I know.
Sounds scary.
It sounds like a lot, right? But stay with us, folks.
The key here is to really widen the gap between what you earn and what you spend.
Okay.
Because the larger that gap,
Okay.
the faster you can reach your goals.
So it's not necessarily about deprivation. It's just about being really conscious and intentional with your spending.
Align your
Spending it with your value.
Okay, so let's talk about the second one, optimizing investments. This is where I think things can get a little bit complicated for people, but it doesn't have to be
It doesn't have to be.
overwhelming.
Right.
So the book advocates for a simple yet very effective approach, right?
Index funds.
Index funds. Now explain what those are for anybody who might not know.
Sure. So index funds are basically baskets of stocks that track a particular market index,
Okay.
like the S&P 500. So it's a great way to get really broad market exposure without picking individual stocks.
Yeah, you don't have to be a day trader trying to figure this all out.
Exactly.
Right. And they typically have low fees. They've historically done well over the long term, and
Yeah.
they're pretty hands-off, right? Which I think for a lot of people is
That's right.
appealing.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah, exactly. And then speaking of keeping it simple, the book also talks about, taking advantage of things like 401ks and IRAs.
Yes.
So explain what those are and why they're important.
So these are tax-advantaged accounts, which means that your investments grow tax-deferred, so you don't pay taxes until retirement.
Okay, so it's like getting a bonus
Exactly.
from the government on
Yeah.
top of all the growth that you're already making.
And don't forget compound interest, right?
Whoa, yes.
The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow.
That snowball effect,
It
right?
figures out.
It just gets bigger and bigger over time.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking about FIRE in kind of a general sense, but we should mention that there are different flavors of FIRE.
That's right.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Like picking your favorite ice cream flavor, right?
Yeah.
You've got traditional FIRE, lean FIRE, fat FIRE, even coast FIRE.
Mm-hmm.
What are the differences between those?
So traditional FIRE focuses on reaching financial independence and retiring as early as possible,
Okay.
typically in your 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
This typically involves pretty high savings rates
Okay.
and potentially some lifestyle adjustments to accelerate the process.
Okay, gotcha.
Then you have lean FIRE, which emphasizes minimizing your expenses,
Okay.
embracing a more frugal lifestyle.
Okay, like for people who maybe are more into minimalism or simple living or something like that.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have fat fire, which is favored by higher earners who want to maintain a more luxurious lifestyle
Okay.
in early retirement.
Okay.
So you can still enjoy, travel, fine dining, maybe a second home.
Okay, so it just depends on, what your goals are
Exactly.
and what you want that life to look like.
And then there's coast fire, which is kind of a hybrid approach.
Okay.
You save really aggressively early on,
Okay.
and then you reach a point where your investments can basically coast towards your fire goal,
Okay.
even if you continue working maybe part-time
Gotcha.
or in a less demanding role.
So you can maybe just dial it back a little bit, but you're still on that path
Exactly.
to financial freedom.
That's right.
It's amazing how all these different approaches cater to people's, individual
Preferences?
preferences and circumstances. That's so cool.
So it really highlights that fire is a personal journey.
Mhm.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about putting plans into action. Like, what are the steps that people can take?
Okay, so the first step is to calculate your fire number.
Yep.
This is the amount of money you need to save to reach financial independence.
Gotcha.
It's essentially 25 times your annual expenses,
Okay.
based on that 4% rule.
Okay. And the book recommends adding in a little buffer, right? Or
You want to have a cushion
just in
for
case.
unexpected expenses.
Unexpected healthcare costs, things like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so once you have that number, what's next?
So then you create an action plan.
Okay.
You break down your big goal into smaller, manageable steps.
Okay, so it's kind of like training for a marathon, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to go out and run 26 miles on your first day. You got to,
You build up to it.
start with those smaller milestones and build up that stamina.
Yeah. Start with setting up a budget, automating your savings, paying off high-interest debt.
Right. And it's so important to celebrate those little wins along the way.
Absolutely. Consistency and motivation are key.
Yes, because it can be a long...
It can be a long journey.
Yeah, it can be a long road, so you got to have those little things to celebrate along the way to keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about a potential roadblock that I think a lot of people, run into.
Yeah.
Which is, what if you just have limited income?
Right.
You look at these numbers and you think, oh, there's just no way I could ever save that much money.
So the key here is to focus on increasing your income potential.
Okay.
You could develop new skills, maybe pursue higher education, or even a career change.
And, we're in this gig economy now, too, where there's all these side hustles that you could potentially look into if you have a marketable skill.
Mm-hmm.
And the book talks about negotiating, right? A raise or promotion in your current job.
Yeah, research industry standards.
Know your worth. Advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
And then a tip I love from the book that I think gets overlooked a lot is become a master of tax strategy, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be a CPA, but understanding how that all works.
Absolutely.
And taking advantage of any deductions and credits that are available to you and all of that, because that can make a big difference in your overall financial picture.
Absolutely.
But what about when life happens?
Right.
Right. What if, you lose your job or there's a medical emergency or any of those kind of curveballs that can happen?
So that's where an emergency fund is crucial.
Yeah.
Having 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses set aside.
Gives you that peace of mind.
Exactly. So you can weather those storms.
Okay.
Without completely derailing your plans.
Okay. And the book also talks about diversification when it comes to your investments.
Yes.
Right.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Spread your investment.
And they talk about different asset classes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So stocks, bonds, real estate, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that I think often gets overlooked when we talk about FIRE, which is the mental and emotional aspects of this whole journey.
Yes.
Because FIRE is not just about the numbers, right?
Absolutely.
It's about that alignment between your lifestyle and your values and creating a life that actually feels really good.
It's about understanding what brings you joy and purpose.
Yeah.
Outside of a traditional career.
What are your passions? What impact do you want to make?
Exactly.
All of that stuff.
It's about creating a life that feels authentic
Okay.
and meaningful.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to delve even deeper into the world of FIRE.
That's right.
Stay tuned.
We'll explore some real-world examples and address some potential challenges and leave you with some actionable tips.
Awesome. Can't wait. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about aligning your lifestyle with your values.
Right.
And now we're going to dive into some real-world examples of how people are actually
Yeah.
making fire happen.
So cool.
And again, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
So many different ways to do this.
Exactly.
For example, have you heard of house hacking?
Yes, it's becoming super popular,
Yeah.
especially for those just starting their fire journey.
Okay.
So it involves buying a multi-unit property, living in one of the units yourself,
Okay.
and renting out the others.
Gotcha.
So your tenants are essentially helping cover your mortgage,
Brilliant.
which significantly reduces your housing costs.
Okay, so you're like building equity and then you're also making this passive income.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Another strategy is geographic arbitrage.
Ooh, I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah, it sounds kind of fancy.
It does, but it basically means relocating to an area with a lower cost of living.
Okay, so like you could move to, I've heard of people moving to Portugal or Thailand, like other countries where their money goes a lot further. They could live a similar lifestyle, but just it's cheaper.
Exactly. And it doesn't even have to be international.
Okay,
You might find more affordable areas within your own state or region.
makes sense.
It's about doing your research and be open to different possibilities.
So cool. All right, so you could have that beachfront villa or you could have that
Exactly.
cozy little cabin in the mountains.
That's right.
Whatever your style is.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people talk about investing in rental properties as a strategy to create passive income,
Mm-hmm.
but real estate can feel kind of scary
It can be intimidating,
for beginners.
especially for beginners.
Yeah, like where do you even start?
There are so many resources available,
Okay.
Books, online courses, even local real estate investment groups.
Okay.
You can connect with seasoned investors,
Gotcha.
learn from their mistakes,
Yeah, find that community.
build your confidence.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's about taking that first step.
I want to switch gears for a second and talk about something that I think is so important but often overlooked in this whole fire conversation, which is health and wellness.
Yes.
Because you can, focus on all the financial stuff, but if you're not taking care of your health,
Yeah. What good is all the money
I'm more at the point.
if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it?
Right. So investing in your health is just as important as investing in your wealth, right?
That's right.
Like exercise, healthy eating, managing stress,
Absolutely.
all that good stuff, getting your checkups, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I just want to kind of recap some key takeaways that we've covered so far, just to
Yeah.
remind everybody.
Yes.
Fire is a journey. It's not a race, right?
That's right.
It's about finding that approach that works for you
Absolutely.
and your goals.
Calculate your fire number.
Yes.
Create your plan and focus on optimizing your income and expenses.
And celebrate those wins along the way.
Absolutely.
And be flexible because, things change.
Yeah, life happens.
Life happens, exactly. But let's be realistic. No financial strategy is without potential downsides, right?
Of course.
What are some things that people should kind of be aware of as they're considering this path?
Yeah, so I think one common fear is running out of money.
Right, because you're relying on those investments for potentially decades.
Exactly. And there's always the risk of market downturns.
Yeah, or like you said, those unexpected expenses.
Right. So that's where building in a margin of safety is really important.
Okay.
That 4% rule is a starting point, but you might consider being a little more conservative,
Okay.
especially in the early years.
All right.
And having a diversified portfolio.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
spread it around.
And then there's also this psychological aspect of fire.
Okay.
Many people get a sense of identity and purpose from their careers.
Yeah, it's how we're conditioned.
Exactly. So transitioning to a life without a traditional job can be a little bit jarring.
Right. It's like stepping off a treadmill that you've been on for like
Yeah.
20 years.
Okay.
So what do you do? How do you kind of make that transition?
So that's why it's so important to have a vision
Okay.
for your post-fire life.
Okay.
What are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with all this free time?
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to make?
That makes sense because if you just don't have that plan, it's easy to kind of,
It can feel a little aimless.
feel a little lost. Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So having that plan, having that vision can kind of help smooth that transition.
Absolutely.
And then, fire doesn't have to mean complete retirement either, right?
Right. It could just be about flexibility.
Yeah.
You might transition to part-time work or start a business or do some volunteer work.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
about designing a life that you love.
That you have control over. Yeah.
And speaking of connections, retiring early can sometimes mean leaving behind your work community.
Yeah, what about that social aspect of it?
So it's important to nurture those relationships with your friends and family.
Okay.
Join some social groups,
Okay.
find some hobbies, and stay active in your community.
Okay. Good tips.
And of course, there are all those fantastic fear communities online
Yeah.
and in person.
I love that, finding those like-minded people.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from practical strategies to mindset shifts and even potential challenges. But before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with some final thoughts and a little bit of a challenge.
Okay.
Remember that vision we asked you to imagine earlier? The one where money was no object and you had the freedom to design your ideal life?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that vision is within your reach.
It is.
It might seem daunting at first, but remember, every journey starts with a single step.
That's right.
So what will your first step be? Maybe it's setting up a budget or opening a Roth IRA or even just reading a book about investing.
Absolutely.
The important thing is to just start.
Just start, take action.
And you don't have to do this alone.
You don't.
There are resources available, there are communities to support you,
That's right.
and even experts like yourself
Mhm.
who can guide you along the way.
Absolutely.
Financial independence is within your grasp.
It is.
Embrace the journey. Create a life that you truly love.
All right. Welcome back. We've really gone deep on the practicalities of FIRE.
Yeah,
Some of the challenges, the mindset, all that.
absolutely.
But I think what I love most about FIRE is this idea of transformation.
Yeah,
Like it's so much more than just retiring early.
it really is.
It's about taking control and
Right.
really making your life match your values,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And designing a life that feels good.
It's about breaking free from that traditional 9 to 5 and pursuing your passions, whether that's travel or creative pursuits, entrepreneurship. Yeah, whatever it is that lights you up.
More time with family.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about choice.
And I think there's this sense of empowerment, right?
Absolutely.
That comes with FIRE. It's like, I can create my own financial future.
You're not beholden to anyone.
I don't have to rely on, a job or somebody else to give me that security. I can create it for myself.
And it's that shift from scarcity to abundance
Yes.
that can be so powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
And it impacts not just your finances,
Yeah,
but your whole well-being.
absolutely. And I think it's easy to get caught up in the numbers.
It is.
But let's not forget about those social and emotional benefits, right?
Mhm.
Like, imagine having the freedom to
Volunteer,
to mentor other people.
spend more time with loved ones.
Yeah, or even just like more time with friends and family, not just your kids or whatever. Right?
It's about creating a life that feels rich
Yeah,
in experience.
rich in relationships,
Yeah.
like all those good things.
That's the magic of FIRE.
It really is. It's not just about the money.
Mm.
It's about
Hmm.
creating that life that feels good.
So before we wrap things up, I just want to bring it back to that vision.
Oh, yeah.
We asked you to imagine,
with ideal life.
right, where money was no object
Yeah.
and you could just design the perfect day.
Yeah, what would you do with your time?
Yeah.
That vision is within your reach.
It is.
It might seem like a long way off or maybe even impossible.
But remember,
No, go-
every journey starts with a single step.
Okay, so what will your first step be?
Mm-hmm.
Is it setting up a budget? Is it opening a Roth IRA?
Mm-hmm.
Is it reading a book about investing?
Talking to a financial advisor.
Yeah, there you go.
There are so many options.
The important thing is to just start.
Take action.
And you don't have to do it alone.
There's support out there.
Communities, resources,
Absolutely.
experts, even like
Yeah.
our guests today.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Financial independence is within your grasp. So embrace the journey. Create a life that you love.
That's what it's all about.
That's it for our deep dive into FIRE. We hope this has been informative, inspiring, and empowering.
Yeah,
We want to leave you with that thought. The power is within you
absolutely.
to create that life that you desire.
Start today
Start today.
and never stop exploring those possibilities.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep seeking knowledge, keep challenging the status quo, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.